Ask you a question?
Yeah.
I had Blake at 7 p.m. on a Sunday, and you were at work at 6 a.m. on Monday. That really sucked, bro. Would you approach those things differently?
This is Grow by Design.
We didn't hit on this, but it's something that's really important to me, that like the co-sleeping, the trying to get so much time and experiences with our kids. And something that I think that's so important is that like creating these experiences and not getting lost in just, it's all business. Like you hear like, and I love Gary Vaynerchuk's stuff, but you hear about like his dad never saw his dad because he was always at work. And I'm sure he's got to be somewhat similar because he promotes being a workaholic. And like, I get it. Like, I'm all for working your ass off. I think that you need to be as efficient as possible with your time and still try to create a lot of quality time with your kids. A kid gets most of what they're going to get from their parents and their attitude and like all the things. The majority of that's learned by the time they're 7. And so if you do it all for your kids and then you aren't there for them for those crucial years where they're becoming who they're going to be and potentially have the greatest effect on that towards their good. Like it's kind of like becoming successful monetarily and then being a fat ass. That's not cool. That's not winning. Like, winning is not having a huge surplus in one part of your life and a huge deficit in the other. Winning is, constantly working to make all the parts of your life better.
Well-rounded success.
Yeah.
It's so true, because when you talk about having like $100 million business or whatever, it's not like I want to have $100 million business and you're going to look around and be divorced and your kids are going to hate you. Like, no, like the true success in the $100 million business will be then the life that we're living and the experiences we've given our kids and what we're building for our kids. You may disagree with what I'm about to say, but you are at a point now where you are home every day at 5. You don't work on the weekends, but in the beginning years, you were working your ass off.
Yeah.
And you still, every day you're working 10 hours or more? Like, still, even if you're done at 5, you start so early that, you're still working 10-hour days. Yeah. But you've adjusted your schedule in such a way to really be there for the kids and not just come home at bedtime.
Yeah, and I would like to go out on a limb and say the more I learn about how I'm always constantly trying to figure out what I can do to be more efficient and get more done. I'd like to go out on a limb and say I get a fucking shit ton done in 4 hours.
Yeah.
And because honestly, that's where 4 to 5 hours, other than like some like little cleanup work and sending estimates, is really what I usually typically work in the business. Other than that, it's creating things like this, trying to help other people, trying to do more. That's kind of how I've arranged my days now. And I've always been really tied to this, and you'll speak to this too for the family, that like you get so tied to that 9 to 5, thinking 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever it is. You think that you have to be working and solid working during that period. I've just been so hung up on things like that throughout my entire life because that's just how I was raised. It's what you see. It's what you're programmed to do. It's how school programs you, everything in your life is programming who you become, whether you are okay with that or not. Like, you're being programmed. Like, I've recently, I changed my whole schedule around on how I do estimates and when I do estimates, because then in the evening, in the afternoon, I'm free, other than like, I don't have any commitments to meet people. I'm good to actually accomplish whatever I need to accomplish or throw together some estimates really quick. But it's allowed me, the way I've arranged my day. Like, I didn't even think, like, at first I thought afternoon appointments were better for people and it was better for me. And now I'm like, well, morning's better for me all around. And then we start talking about these phone call estimates. Like, it's just crazy that you just don't even open your mind to what's possible. Like, this is about your family still. Like, you don't even open your mind to what's possible because you're so used to these social norms and how everything operates, and you don't realize there's so many more things you could be doing to accelerate how fast you can do things, so you can have more time for your family and not just be saying, I'm doing it all for my family, and I'm still beating that drum and not trying to figure out how I could do it any better, Can
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When we had Blake in 2017, I had Blake at 7 p.m. on a Sunday. I drove us home from the birth center at 11 p.m. on a Sunday because you were exhausted and I was on a birth high, so it sounds bad, and you were at work at 6 a.m. on Monday. That really sucked, bro.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation throughout the years about you coming from everything that you just said and your perspective, and then your take on like people that work in the field, guys that just work their asses off, like that working man thing is guys should just get back to work. Paternity leave, unnecessary. That and I'm not like putting you on blast. I feel like this is a cool time to have this conversation. And then in the most recent years, I think that we've really, in all the work that you've done, I think we've evolved our thinking because, I mean, there's studies now that are showing like, obviously postpartum depression is a horrible problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, we've tried to put the blame on other things, but a lot of it comes down to the kind of support you get from your partner. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that comes down to parents and fathers not being able to take time off work and doing exactly what you did as a business owner, yep. but having to go back to their job immediately and not being there to support their person. So we've implemented a maternity and paternity leave policy in our company.
Yeah.
And doing that, like putting that in the handbook, having that and being able to announce it to our team, to see people are going to be able to take advantage of that as they are having kids. It's beautiful to me because honestly, I look back on that and that was like, I was so mad at you.
Yeah.
That is, and the fact that I felt like I kept wanting you to be home, like wanting the support, needing the support. And it just like wasn't getting through to you because you go to work because it's a work day, because it's Monday, you go to work. It doesn't matter what just happened, you know, a few hours ago that there's a new baby here, like we go to work. So I think that that's kind of a cool thing that like, I wonder, like, would you approach those things differently? And this is neither here nor there because it was the first year you started your business. But as I was in labor with Jace, you also went to go work as I transferred hospitals because my condition was worsening and it was a really fucked up situation. You were at work. Just some memories, just some fun relationship memories. I mean,
it's like there's going to be times where you've got to make massive sacrifice, right? Do I know?
We were in such a different place then.
And the thing is like, if I had me to be around to help me be better when I was starting, maybe I could do what I do now, but I didn't have me. I had so much learning to do. I had so much education that needed to be done. I'm much different than who I was then. That's the beautiful thing about business is, you know, you can't take away what you learn. Like you'll never take away, like you can take away everything I have, but you won't ever be able to take away what I know. And I think that's what's really powerful to teach the kids as well. I would definitely do things differently if I could, but I don't know if I see a way that I could have done it. Like I was so obligated, you know what I mean? And like, I did everything to make it be where we're at now.
It's so true. And I see it.
And now I see the efficiencies I can do to make it where I can continue to have those massive jumps, but not affect us as poorly.
You know what I would say though? No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't hold any resentments. But what I would say to somebody who's in that similar situation is to have the conversations, because for a while I was really resentful of you, and it also made me resent the business because it was like, fuck this business that he can't be here for me in this, like, even just for a few hours. Like, and then maybe that lends itself to like, shit's fucked at home. I don't know why she's so mad at me. How do you approach those situations and those big things? I mean, obviously it's a big example of like the birth of a child, but again, we are committed to oversharing, and that's like a very real experience that we had. And that shows how tied you were to the business and how the motivation to like not be tied to the business anymore.